The House rejected a Senate plan in Washington that extended a popular tax cut into the new year. The Senate's bipartisan compromise guarantees the payroll tax break through February, but GOP lawmakers in the House say they'll only vote for a year-long extension. But now the senators have left for the holiday break, Congress is running out of options if they want to protect 160 million Americans from a tax hike. And joining us now to talk more about this is Senator Bernie Sanders. Thank you for being here tonight.
Good to be with you.
Well, let the House saying no to this. It appears now that millions of Americans are looking at smaller paychecks. On average, we're hearing about $20. So now what?
Well, between you and me, I think an agreement is going to be reached. What the Republicans, I believe, are saying is they want a one-year agreement. And frankly, Darren, I think the reason for that is they want to pay for these, for the payroll tax holiday. They want to pay for an extension of unemployment benefits, which is also in it, making sure also that doctors get decent reimbursement rates for Medicare. They want to pay for it, I believe, by making cuts in Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and education. And that's what they're hanging on. A lot of the Tea Party guys were elected to do those things, and they're pretty fierce about trying to carry that out.
Now, that is for the year-long extension, but correct me if I'm wrong, but you also opposed the 2-month extension. Why?
I did because, A, I believe the middle class does need tax relief. No question about that. It should be funded in a progressive and fair way. What I worry about is that by cutting the payroll tax, which is 6.2% down to 4.2%, what you're doing is diverting hundreds of billions of dollars away from the Social Security Trust Fund. Furthermore, this will be the second year that we did it, and I worry that next year this could become an ongoing process, which means that Social Security, which today can pay out benefits for the next 25 years, if you keep doing it, you're going to lose the kinds of funding that Social Security needs in order to be there for our kids and our grandchildren.
Now, Republicans today are saying that this move is really an effort to send a message to senators that it's time to get back to Washington, time to get back to work. In fact, House Speaker John Boehner sent a letter to the White House asking the president to put pressure on senators to return to Washington to rework this tax cut plan. We have some sound from Speaker Boehner. Let's listen in.
The 2-month extension will create more uncertainty for job creators in our country when millions of Americans are out of work. I think President Obama needs to call on Senate Democrats to go back into session, move to go to conference, and to sit down and resolve this bill as quickly as possible. A 2-month extension is nothing more than kicking the can down the road.
Now, that was the House Speaker calling for further negotiations. What do you say?
Well, obviously, I think I and everybody else is prepared to go back to Washington tomorrow if necessary. But a little bit of insincerity on the part of the Speaker. These are the guys who voted against every effort to rebuild our infrastructure, to put money into education, to make sure that teachers are not fired. So in every single job bill that's come down the pike, they have strongly opposed it. In my own opinion, what the Tea Party folks want to do is to go for a year and to pay for that year by making very significant cutbacks on programs that tens of millions of Americans depend upon.
Let's move on to LIHEAP now. We've reported that Vermont is getting more than $19 million in home heating help, but that is far less than the $26 million that we got last year. What are we going to do?
Well, Darren, you're absolutely right. Some of us fought several years ago to double funding in LIHEAP. We took it from $2.5 billion to $5 billion. For whatever reason, the president wanted $2.5 billion. We managed to get $3.5 billion, which is a significant cut from what it was last year. I am working with Senators Olympia Snowe, Jack Reed, and others to get another $1 billion into the program. If we do not do that, no question in my mind, there'll be people in our state, all over the northern sector of America, who are going to go cold this winter. And when you understand that the vast majority of LIHEAP funds goes to the elderly, goes to families with children, and goes to people with disabilities. That's something that as a nation we must not allow to happen.
And now, some people may say that this appears to be like the same old song and dance, if you will, that, you know, the feds threaten to cut LIHEAP, and then in the long run, the money comes through.
That's not the case. I mean, again, we fought hard to double funding. Right now, the cuts are there. They are real. And let me tell you, I mean, we have, I believe, 6 Republicans on board supporting of us, not every Democrat. So we have a real fight on our hands to make sure the people in Vermont and America don't go cold this winter.
And you'll fight for that back in January?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. Senator Bernie Sanders, we appreciate your time. Happy holidays.
Thank you. You
Thanks.
too.